My baked salmon with mustard dill sauce is a foolproof way to cook this popular fish. Whole grain mustard, fresh dill, real butter, and sliced lemons are the secret behind this easy and delicious meal. Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode of Let's Celebrate TV. I'm your host, Peter Lee. Today, we're back on the seafood kick. We're making salmon with mustard dill sauce. Let's get started. This is one of the easiest recipes to make. It's fast, it's delicious. It starts with, of course, salmon. I have here a beautiful side of salmon. You can just see that. It's about 2.5 pounds-ish, a little over 2 pounds. And I got it from my fishmonger. It's skinless, it's beautiful. But I want to trim it up. I want a nice even thickness. I want an even edge. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this little line here off, a little trim of this belly. It's very, very thin. And this is going to cook. I don't want this to burn. So look how simple this is. Take a nice sharp knife and a straight line, just like that. Now I'm going to take this off, and I'm not going to throw this away. Don't worry. I'm going to use this a little later in another recipe, a little salmon mousse I'm going to make. But now we have this beautiful, even piece of fish here. Next, I want to make sure there are no more pin bones. You just want to rub both ways. Now, hopefully your fishmonger at your supermarket or your fish store has gotten them all, but sometimes they miss them. And I found one. I don't know if you can see that, but there it is. There's a pin bone. We don't want to eat that. We'll just discard it. So now we have our salmon. Our next step is we need to get it in the oven. Now, I have here a cookie sheet that I have just lined with parchment paper. And I've done that because I don't want the fish to stick to it. Now, this is a skinless piece of salmon. If you get it with the skin, that's fine, but use some parchment or it'll stick. So I'm going to transfer this over, just like that. Now we're going to put this in the oven. My oven is preheated to 450 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 230 degrees Celsius. I'm putting it in just as is. I'm not seasoning it first. There's no salt, no pepper, just this. Why am I doing that? While this is in cooking, and we're going to cook it for about 15 minutes, while it's in, we're going to make a sauce for it, and the sauce is going to have a lot of seasoning in it. So we don't need to season the fish right now because we don't want to oversalt it or over-season it. So here we go, off to the oven for about 15 minutes. All right, my fish is in the oven, again, 450 Fahrenheit, 230 Celsius for about 15 minutes. So let's make our sauce. I have a nice little frying pan here. I'm going to put it on low heat. Let's get this lit. Just turn that down. Little lower. There we go. Okay, we're going to start with some butter because everything's good with butter. I have here 6 ounces or 170 grams of unsalted butter. You could use salted if that's what you can get or if you prefer. I'm using unsalted today. We're going to get this melting. Nice and gently. There's no need to brown it or rush it. All right. We get the butter melting. And it seems like a lot of butter. It's a big piece of fish. To this butter, we're going to add some mustard. Whole grain mustard, in fact. I have 3 generous tablespoons, which weighs out to about 65 grams. So nice whole grain mustard. A lot of times people use Dijon or spicy brown, but I love the whole grain mustard. It gives a little texture. A little different flavor. Just gonna stir that in to that melted butter. Next up is dill. Fresh dill, if you can find it, please. There it is. I've got 4 tablespoons, which is about 10 grams, but do try and get fresh. If you can't, you can, in this case, I'll allow it, use dried dill, but I prefer the fresh. So it's gonna go right in. Mustard and dill surprisingly go very well together. And on fish, especially salmon, it's brilliant. Now I'm going to add a little salt and pepper to this. Good pinch of salt. And a good grinding of pepper. Just like that. All right, we're just going to stir this about. Let the butter melt and let all these flavors kind of get to know one another. All right, and this is our sauce. That's all there is to it. It's pretty simple. I've got a few more minutes for my fish, so I'm going to cut the heat on this. We're just going to let this kind of hang out. Like I said, the flavors are going to get to know one another. It's going to be delicious. All righty, here we are. Our fish is out of the oven. Now, this piece of fish was a little thinner than I was hoping for, so I did pull it out before the 15 minutes. I only let it go about 11 or 12 minutes, but it's almost there. Now it's time to add our sauce to it. I'm going to just pour this beautiful sauce right over the top, right like this. Let's scrape it all on there. Like the kraken of the deep with all of this dill. And you can use a little pastry brush like me just to spread it out a bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, so don't worry. I'm going to add one more element. We're going to add some lemon slices. Lemon is going to add a little extra seasoning, a little pop of acid. It's going to be beautiful. I'm just going to lay them out just like this. These are very, very thin slices, as thin as I can get. And again, they don't have to be perfect. There we go, just like that. All right, this is ready to go back into the oven. Now we're just going to put it in for maybe 5 minutes. All I'm really looking for is for the sauce to cook into the fish a little bit. These lemons will start to caramelize, and I just want to make sure the fish gets to 145 degrees Fahrenheit or 65 Celsius. So right back to the oven we go. And here we are out of the oven. Look at how gorgeous this is. I'm going to pick this up a little bit for the camera. How beautiful is that? Now it was really just 5 minutes. I got a little char on the lemons. Everything is cooked nicely. And we've let this sit for just a moment to rest and relax. You always want to let things rest when they come out of the oven. Let them kind of, they've been working hard in that oven. So let's have a little taste. I've got a little plate here, little salad greens on it, some lemons, and my fish spatula. I'm just going to take a portion. This is our dinner tonight, so my husband won't mind. Beautiful, look at that. Now I'm going to spoon a little bit of this extra sauce over it because it's lovely and delicious and buttery, and why not? Especially that butter. And here we go. How pretty is that? So now I'm going to make that sacrifice for you all the time and do the tasting. But first, I've got some fresh lemon here. You know, just one last little squeeze. I love lemons. Let's have a little taste. Right, like this. Wow. That's so good. There's butter, there's mustard, the brightness from the lemon, that dill is in the background, giving that wonderful grassy flavor. I need another bite. It's just too good. Wow. And so simple to make. More importantly, so simple, so delicious to eat. I need a little sip of wine. And if you're wondering, red wine with fish, with salmon, red wine goes really well with salmon. That's lovely. As always, we will see you on Tuesdays for our regular episodes, Fridays for Cocktail Fridays, and every other Sunday for our live streams. I'm gonna go ahead and eat my fish. While I do that, I want you to watch some of these episodes over here. So until next time, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.